Hi, my name is Andrea Lorenz from the East Grand Forks Campbell Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make a kaleidoscope. So if you picked up a kit from the library, you should have all of the supplies that you need, minus some essentials like glue and tape. But if you're just joining us and you want to make this your own, this is what you're going to need. A paper towel tube or a cardboard tube that is about that size and shape, but maybe a little sturdier. A piece of paper or some markers to decorate your kaleidoscope. You can see I've already covered mine in blue paper. You'll need some clear plastic. You can use the top of a grocery store container, like that might have salad inside of it, or a piece of laminating film. Something that is a little bit sturdier than like plastic wrap, but you can still see through it. And from that material, you're going to cut two circles. One is going to be as big as the top of your paper towel tube. The other one needs to be a little bit smaller because it's going to fit inside. So you will need to measure the diameter, or how wide the circle is, this top circle of your paper towel tube, in order to make a circle the right size. You're also going to need a wax paper circle that's the same size as the top of the tube, and a black piece of paper that is the same size as the top of the tube, but with a hole cut in the middle for looking out. We also have mirror board pieces, and this is what we're using today, metallic foil board. And some transparent or clear beads, so colored but clear, that are going to fill up our kaleidoscope. Some supplies that you want to have on hand include a scissors, some glue, I have a glue stick and some liquid glue, some tape, and a hot glue gun. The hot glue gun isn't required, but it is handy for sealing things up. And if you are a child, please do not use a hot glue gun without adult supervision. All right, to get started, we're going to turn our foil boards over, put them on face down on our table, and we're going to tape them together. So we're going to tape them together like they are one piece of paper, line them up as close as you can, and put some tape on them. I'm just going to turn this one around. I think it'll fit a little bit better. I used about 3 pieces of tape per join. All right, so when they're all taped together, flip them over, and what we're going to do is we're going to make this into a triangle. So you're going to put the shiny sides all together. So take the two ends and bend them toward each other. You might need to readjust your tape and tape the ends closed so you make a triangle. The mirror boards are really an important part of the kaleidoscope because they reflect the image that we see, and it makes it look even cooler than it already does. Okay, and these boards are cut so that this triangle will fit inside of our tube like this. I have specific measurements for this specific size of tube, but if you're just joining us from home, you may need to try again to make sure that you have the right size. And this I cut so it is 1 centimeter shorter than the tube itself. This is so we can put our beads on top and they can still move around. So when you have your triangle, what we're going to do is we're going to put it inside of our cardboard tube. You can see it sits a little shorter. I want the one end to be flush on the bottom so that the mirror board is right at the end of the tube. And then I'm going to kind of glue it in place. I'm going to use hot glue just on the corners where the corners meet the tube. don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. So I just put a little bit of glue on the corners, and it might not hold a lot, but it'll hold enough while we're putting the rest of it together. So once you have that in place, you're going to take your smaller clear circle and set it inside on the top of the triangle. If your circle is a little big, you might need to trim it down, but it's just going to rest right on top. You can kind of see it right there on top of the triangle. This is where the hot glue gun comes in handy. I'm going to use the hot glue gun to create a seal all around the outside of this plastic circle. It's going to hold it in place, and it's going to keep the beads and the confetti from falling down into the tube and getting lost. So I'm going to do that right now. I actually need to put another glue stick in my hot glue gun. Okay, see if you can see what I'm doing here. So I want to make sure that I'm touching both the plastic and the cardboard tube. To make that seal. All right, so we're gonna let that sit for a minute or two just to dry and to harden. So I'm not sure if you can see that seal on the outside. Okay, so our hot glue has dried, and what we're going to do next is we're gonna put in our beads. So I'm just gonna dump these very easily, very gently inside. And they should fill up most of your space. So you can kind of see mine on top. I might take a few out just so they have room to move around. And then we're going to seal it. So I'm going to take my wax paper and I'm going to tape it on top. So I'm going to use small pieces of tape, skinny pieces of tape. I'm actually going to cut these in half the long way. And so this is what the wax paper does is it diffuses the light so you don't see all the way through. You get a better view of your beads and confetti. I'm just putting 4 little pieces of tape on top because I am also going to seal this with hot glue as well. So you can see that I have my beads inside and then my wax paper seal. I'm going to take my bigger circle, which you can see my circle is a little fuzzy itself. If you have one that is frosted, you can just use that instead of the wax paper. But this is what I've got. This is from gluing the wax paper, but it didn't stick. So I'm going to put this on top, and then I'm going to hot glue all the way around the outside, very, very carefully. All right, so my hot glue on the top is all dry, and I'm going to flip my tube over, and we're going to put on our black little cover. So you can see this is going to fit right over the top and cover up the end, and I'm just going to tape this on. I'm going to use those skinny pieces of tape that I used before. And secure it. To my tube. You can put as much tape or as little tape as you want. This is really just to make it look a little bit nicer. All right, once you've got that on, you're ready to start looking. So look through the end, you want to point it out towards the light source and then turn it around, and your bead should turn. So you'll be able to see some pretty awesome images. Thanks for joining me. Leave any questions or comments down below, and we'll see you next month.